Good evening. Well, I do not want to mess around too much. As you can see, there are 4 different tiers for my champion. Because Nilah is actually a very unique champion. There is not a very polarizing matchup for her except for 1 or maybe 2. So, let's start. I will make more videos about support synergies and support matchups. Maybe I will include support synergies and matchups when talking about ADCs too, because, well, we're in bot lane, so it is relevant. Starting with Draven, I'd say he's mostly even. He's also a snowball champion like Nilah, but in a different way. He's more about winning a lane to end the game in mid-game, while Nilah is a insane hype scaler, so she snowballs more about carrying the mid-game with a slight advantage or a mediocre advantage over Helena, and she starts to snowball more through when she gets 1 item ahead after the second. Like, she scales considerably when she hits her 3rd item. She becomes basically the best champion in the 4th item, while Draven tries to end the game when he is more on his 3rd item at the best. I know it sounds quite confusing, but Nilah's snowball is more about making sure she will hold the game until she hits her 4th item. But both are snowball champions. So, going back to the point, stopping messing around here. It's an even lane because whoever gets ahead first kind of snowballs the game really considerably. It's very hard to both of these champions to get back when one gets the advantage of the other. But if Nilah holds her lane in an even situation, is better than Draven because he needs to end the game before she hits her 3 to 4 items, especially 4 items through spell spike. She's like KO level 16 when she hits 4 items, levels of power. So, but Draven has a very strong lane phase, so it's not that hard for him to get ahead. If we talk about those 2 champions individually, so I would say it is even because it's quite volatile, but if Nilah holds herself, she's better than Draven, and if she's ahead, she's better than Draven. But if she falls behind, it's so hard to even get to 4 items because this champion is insane when he's ahead. I'll put Nilah in the same category as Yasuo because you shouldn't be playing that many normal games with to play if you want truly rank up, But going back to the topic again, Draven Yasuo is the only lane that she wins consistently regardless of the support because her kit just counters him so hard. His win wall is useless against her, her Q goes through her 360 50 range goes over his wind wall, so she has pseudo ranged attacks against a true melee champion. So then she can stop his ulti if she ults at a good time. So he's easy lane. He gets stat checks pretty early. Just don't lean to the early game, you'll be fine. Lucian, it's mostly chill. He's an easier version to deal with of Draven because even if he has an Nami, your W counters him so much. Low range champions without a strong escape are usually not the best ADCs into Nilah. MF also isn't quite snobbly. She's quite good late game too, but at least better than those two. She's usually easy to simply or go even or even get a lead up because she's so immobile. And Nilah is a all-in or nothing champion, or you kill or you die. Usually you do not go for pokes. You can sometimes go for trades, but you are most of the time going to win or simply avoiding the lane altogether. Varus, I think it's quite. He has so many different builds, but I think he's mostly chill. It's not hard to go even, avoid him, or simply wait for you have an opportunity to engage on him. He has zero escapes. He has a mediocre. I mean, not mediocre. He has a slight above average range on his auto attacks, and he has his Q and he pokes, but it's usually fine. Vayne is even. She is weak early, so you can most of the time go even in lane without many problems, regardless of the support, because this bitch's weak, very weak early. Your W counters her full damage, you have almost a KO loot when you have your W up against her. But her E disengages you very hard, she can kite you very consistently, so it can be dangerous. She is a dangerous champion to fight. She's also a duelist ADC, like Nilah is a full duelist, but she almost feels like a full duelist too with 550 range. But she's fine to deal with, regardless. It's not that bad lane. Just try not to get behind, and you'll be fine. Mira is a false win, you know. She has surface levels of similarities, but those two champions are quite different, despite the fact they also are very twin-likes, because both are non-traditional, snowbally, all-in or nothing champions. But she gets countered by her pseudo counterpart, because Nilah likes when people engages on her, and Samira likes more to engage on people, so she's engaging on the champion that likes when you go into her. Also, the support champions that is good with Nilah are generally Samira are generally engaged supports, and Nilah, because of this, she kinda counters engaged supports. So she's almost like in the Yasuo tier, but I'll put her mostly chill because a lead up of Samira, and it goes hard because this bitch snowballs so hard because of her resets. Which is mostly fine, very chill. If you don't die to her, you will steamroll her because you scale much better. Your her ulti, your W stops her, not stops, delays her S rank, you know. It also, your ulti also stops her ulti. But you can still get behind if you mess up, you get cocky or you get ganked. if someone setups her correctly, she kills you, your lane goes quite hard, even if your champion periodically counters her. Seraphine is mostly annoying to even, like, you both will mostly avoid each other, you know. You will deal more damage than her, she will kill her team. I would say that he's even because of this, because you both will... No, I don't know, because it's so hard to kill her. She will poke you, but she doesn't deal that much damage. She will be like a secondary support usually. If you are playing against a Seraphina ADC, she will usually have a hybrid carry and she will try to build her team with Ilya, with Moonstone that they usually build when they are on the full lane role. But you can kill her very easily if she mess up, but you both usually simply avoid each other. So if she has another enchanter, they will poke you, but they will never really snowball. So I'll say that she's actually mostly chill. Because, you know, if you scale harder, because you are a very powerful carry both in teamfights and 1v1, you are a powerhouse. You're like, it's very similar to this guy, but even stronger. But we'll come to him later. Sana is bulky heavy when she's an ADC, and she will deal a bit of damage, but if she is very, very squishy, one engage, and probably will kill her. But she has a lot of range, she has a lot of kiting potential, but she won't be that much of a problem, usually. I'll say it is even. She scales also very hard. So good Senna players will poke you and try not to get engaged. And both will scale a bit harder, a bit more than her, but she's also won't necessarily get behind if that much behind if you both go even, you know? So we'll put her here. Silva, it's a bit annoying. She can hide you quite considerably. She's shove waves very well, but she avoids you and pokes you. He also stops the pull from your ulti, so you have to kind of start melee on her if you want to kill her in 1v1 or have a support to set up you into her. But I say she's quite evenish. You scale much harder than her, even though she scales well. Both has quite snowbally. Don't get behind and you won't have problems. She's also short range outside of her skills that can poke you, but she's not that bad. Swain is mostly annoying you. Most part of the game you won't be able to engage on him. He can deal so much well against you in lane phase, both as a support and as ADC. An APC actually. You scale much more than him, but you will have to avoid him. Even when you support setups, sometimes you lose after 6 because this champion also wants you to engage on him. And in the worst situations, he will turn on Ghost and will run away. So it's always quite safe for him. It's like a high reward, low risk to him win the lane against you. And he's very powerful in mid game. Nilah is not a good mid game champion. If for you to be useful, you have to be ahead of the enemy team. So because your triple spikes lies on when you get usually 4 items because your 100% crit post spike is insane. But his 2 and 3 items are so disgusting. So even when you are ahead, if you get ahead in lane, you will be weaker than him in the game. So he's mostly annoying. Aphelios is mostly chill. He's also a scale powerhouse, but UW counters him quite considerably. For you to have an idea, UW stops his ulti, and when you get on top of him, it's very hard for him to get out of you. Most of the time, either of you die in an engage, and is most of the time. And the times that is not him is decided by a support, like if the Aphelios have a Lulu, it becomes quite challenging to kill him, or a Yumi, but you also can have Lulu or a Yumi on your R, so it's usually better for you because, well, at least the ADC aren't in your favor. And because of your W skills harder than him, basic in terms of matchup. Ash is almost annoying, but at least her slow gets counted by your dashes, but she has 600 range, so it's hard for you to actually set up your 450 range dashes. And if you cause 2 E's to get on her, she will kite you, never do that. So, but your W also counters almost all of her damage. You will do damage basically on her W to poke you, but is, I would say it is mostly annoying because of that. It's not the most annoying champion to face, but she is mostly annoying, especially in lane. But one good engage and she's dead. Azrael is even to, I will say he's here. You usually get Ghost to Kai him because this bitch has very weak all-ins, but he has a very strong keep out with his E and good pokes. Your W at least counters his Q damages. He is not that good scaler, so if you go even, he won't enroll you that much in mid-game. If you get behind, he won't usually deal enough damage to also steamrolls you in mid-game himself, so he's actually kind of mid-risk, mid-reward, or low-risk, mid-reward champion. He's the safest ADC, so he's actually kind of mid in no parameter, so he's kind of even. Even when you get a lead on him, it's hard to kill him. When you get behind, it's hard for him to kill you too, because, well, he has weak ult, he has good poke, he will always have a good neutral game, regardless. So he's even. He is annoying, you only can truly win him when you have either cleanse, flash, or SS/scimitar. Because his box is so fucking annoying to deal with. Really annoying. Your W don't stop that much damage from him because it's like minus 25% of damage, so he can still deal like 75% of his damage when you have your W up. It usually makes you invincible in Owens, but so hard to kill him because of his box. And his skills like a steamroller. He doesn't scale more than you. But he scales a lot, because he scales infinite with his AP. He's like this girl, but he has a box. Less range though. This bitch is annoying as fuck. There is a way to play against her, but it demands time. I think the best thing you can do against Zaya is not engage on her. Like, forget she exists. Especially in mid-games onward. She will probably do the same, because she can't win and you. So, and give you an opportunity for heal on her, because you and melee range is stronger than her, but she can hit you so well if you try to engage on her, and she will blow you with her feathers, because your W don't stop her feather damage, and it's her main source of the damage. She's like one of the only AD bot laners who can murder you through your W. So, and she also scales a lot. So my best advice against Saya is either wait for her to make a mistake, so you can jump on her safely without she keeping the distance from you. And if she never do that, never do that, you simply avoid her. Go team up, go split push on the other side of the map that she's not. You know? Forget this bitch exists. And she won't be that much of a problem. But if you try to engage on her, she will fucking murder you. Zeri is mostly chill. She can be a bit annoying with a quite high range and high speed. But most of her damage is locked behind a bit of magic damage and auto attacks. You double counters both. Your ulti can pull her if she messes up. Her dash is trying to kite you. If she doesn't dash, you can double dash on her and you'll have so much burst damage you will murder her. So, mostly chill matchup. Jhin is easy. Your W counters her is burst on his 4th bullet. He has so little keep out. He has a so weak all-in. He's really an easy prey for her. It would be here if one wasn't by support matrix, you know. A Morgana, a Lux, a Zyra, all these poke champions can block you in place, and Jhin can poke you and burst you. That's why I say some matchups, even if they are and mostly annoying, even or mostly chill, they can flip up completely depending on the support, and the reciprocal is true. If you, depending on the synergy you have with your support, or if there is a support that counters you, if they have a bad ADC partner, they can be trash into you. That's how bot lane works. At least with Nilah. Mostly playing Nilah nowadays, so I can only say about my own point of view. But coming into the topic of Jhin specifically, he's trash into Nilah. By himself. Jinx is also similar to him, but she's a bit more dangerous because she's not bully as hell, like this girl here. Because of her reset, she's also skills like a truck and she has a lot of range. But she has to commit if she wants to truly damage you. She has to toss her W and she's toss her CC skills, and she's a little bit close to you, can so easily win her, and she will never win an all-in against you. Mostly chill matchup, your W counters almost all her damage. Oh, and I got my GM promotion. Good time, innit? Cassio is annoying. she's like on this level. Let me put this bitch at the easiest. I'll put this way. Calcio is like she wants you to engage on her so she can obliterate you to the checky potential of being you poison. She also likes auto attackers because they chip that auto attacks always faces towards her, so she can ult and stun lock them for 2 seconds. Her W stops dashes. And she also scales very well. She kites. Nilah is a melee champion. She's very annoying to deal with. You can beat her if you dodge a W or a kill of her and engage on her. When you have Scimitar, it's very easy to run her down even if she hits you with her ulti because Scimitar gives a lot of movement speed. And Nilah is known for a very high potential. Something Cassio doesn't like because she's a DPS machine. But especially in lane phase, mid game, it's very hard to do. Even in team fights, her area control is so powerful. Even her 1v1 is powerful. You have to build Scimitar if you want to have a slight edge in 1v1s, you know. Even when you have Scimitar, you can still lose if she kites you. This bitch is very strong. Fortunately for Nilah, she's not very popular, and she is a bit into the weak side of things. So yeah, you can beat her, but it's not easy. I mean, it's also a bit dangerous for her because if you engage on her and dodge her ulti and her kill, you can bust her and pull her towards you, and if she doesn't kite you, she will lose. But still, it's dangerous for both, but it's usually more dangerous for Nilah because Nilah's early game is trash. As your early is a bit rough too, but not like she's S++ tier early game compared to Nilah's trash one. I say it's easy, but yeah, most of the damage comes from her autos. She has a very little, I mean, not very little self-build skills. I mean, she has strong self-build skills, but they are mostly movement skills, and Nilah has 2 dashes and a pull skill, and if you engage on her, it's not that hard for her to play away, but she will always be in a bad situation, especially that you are busty. Kai'Sa is more DPS focused, and in situations where she's busty, your W counters her bust. You will most of the time stat check her. So she's like Vayne, but she doesn't have her condemn. Vayne's condemn. Sometimes you can even pull her in the wood and mage. It's a quite chill matchup. Kai'Sa's a duelist champion, but she gets quite on the ADC versus ADC matchup. Her kit gets quite countered by Nilah's one. Same thing with Kalista, but Kalista can be quite snowbally and also very fighting focused, but your W is almost like a KO loot against her. She can stack on you when you have your W up. It's even stronger than Kale's, having Kale's ult in some ways. In fact, I think I'll put her even here, because she has to win the early game and it's so rough for her to get the lead against Nilah. Caitlyn is annoying. She's not the most annoying champion in the world, but she is annoying because Caitlyn usually bullies low range champions, but she is even stronger bullying ranged champions who has lower range than her. Nilah is the least is a melee champion and can stop her passive damage, and she gets on top of Caitlyn. It's so rough for Caitlyn to deal with. But and mostly annoying, but most of the time she's even to be here, depending on the support. Or even here. Uh, she's a bit volatile depending on the enemy support you have, because if she has a Morgana, she's a nightmare to deal with, but she has, I don't know, like, I think a Yumi is easy to deal, a Leona is easy to deal, like, support who has a slightly bad synergy with Caitlyn will be easy to deal with as Nilah. Tristana is mostly chill level, but here lane is a little bit volatile. Tristana has a lot of soft skill skills, her W, her ulti, but she skills worse than you. She is nobody. Her mid game sucks. If she doesn't. Oh, the same thing as Caitlyn here. Both of Nilah, Caitlyn, and Tristana all have inherently terrible mid games, because they are three champions that scales with grit or level. In case of Tristana, she scales with both, and when you are in the mid game situation, you have just a little bit of both, and it feels bad, you know. At least when it is on the early game, you usually have some cheese, some gimmicks that in mid game it's hard to have fly. And both of these champions had to be useful in mid game, and this champion too, to compensate their lackluster mid game. And it's hard to Tristan to get a lead on Nilah because her W stops her damage. He always pushes the wave, so you can never freeze Nilah, you know. Usually so easy to deal with. The rat, if he's AD, he's here, almost even here. He's AP, he's mostly here. Because when you're facing an AD rat, they get so obliterated by your W, so obliterated by your engage. Especially your W, can just his damage for around 2 seconds and 25 or 1.5 seconds for your team. If you give like a clean ult for them, he can stack his passive, he can burst you with his E. He's a momentum champion, and UW raise his momentum quite considerably. An AP rat can damage you through your W very well, but it's basically all he has. You can like eat out of his W. You can W to avoid getting stacked, but he has a stronger neutral ult. And also his slow becomes quite annoying to deal with, but you can deal with by dashing, because your dash doesn't get reduced by slows, like the dash speed. Neymar is annoying, will put him probably here. No. Let me think. I think this is fair. He can bust you, but there is some interesting gimmicks. Your W stops his turrets, the damage of his turrets. Your kill can burst his turrets, sometimes one shot depending on how much crit you have. He's very easy to deal with post lane phase, but in the lane phase he's annoying. He's annoying. He will always be annoying against, I think, any champion you play. If he doesn't want to play around his turrets because your W counters his damage, he can sometimes burst you with his W, you know. He can be kind of a high range poke champion. Don't like to play against him, but he's not that bad. I'll put him in even, to be fair, because you have gimmicks against him. You can dodge his E with your offs. You can dodge his W with yours. If your E, you can stop his turret damage with your W. So you have ways to deal with him. He's just annoying. He's an annoying champion. Lotus is fine. Like, he can never win a 1v1. I think he'll put him mostly chill. Like, you can dodge his kills with your Wii very easily. You can engage when you engage on him, which is easy. He will either kill you or die, or sometimes both, because you know he's passive. But he's easy to deal. He scales like a truck, just like you, but in a different way. I would say that if you have a field support in your side, you will scale considerably more than him, because you will be a raid boss champion, while he will be a poke machine with his ulti. But in terms of both champions fighting, you will always win against this bitch. You have enough mobility, enough engaged tools, enough CC to deal with him. If you get on top of him, he will never get away from you. Dodge his skills with your ease, and you bust him. And Kog'Maw is easy. He has a little bit of range, especially when he has his W active, but he's so immobile. He only has his E to self-fill, and again, your E counters slows, because it's a fixed dash with fixed speed, regardless of Nilah's movement speed. So, engage on him, he dies. Get away from him if he has his W active in a neutral spot of lane, you know, like you both on your sides of tower or in your sides of lane. He turns on his W, just run away, or activate your own W, avoid his damage, and engage on him if possible. Very easy champion to deal with. And this is the tier list. I think it's pretty chill, pretty easy to understand. If I did mess up, because, you know, it's a bit late. It's the first time I'm making a video, so also the first time I'm making a tier list video. So I am an amateur. Feedbacks is always welcome, and anything, ask on the comment section. And thank you for watching.